was war meine Mucke? Hast du ein Problem? Alter, schon meine 5000 Watt Bass Machine gehört? Geht voll ab, Alter. Ich liebe dich. Schwuchtel, ey. Du stinkst aber echt wie mein Ohr, Axel.
Hello, people.
Oh, God, very, very wrong.
A wee bit. Well, what you have just witnessed there is Lord of the Weed.
Fair enough.
That's some people way back when Lord of the Rings was new took it on and did a sort of mystery science theater job to it. This was only a short excerpt of that what actually had been done, so
Count yourselves lucky. Next, we all know what you're watching the next time I can't make it, don't you?
well,
Like, no hobby hangout tonight, you're all watching it.
For some reason, again, Skype is showing your menu. Let's see if I can
Of course it is.
get this.
Oh yeah, look.
Oh,
No.
bollocks.
I'm going to assume that's on your side.
It is definitely because I made an update, so
Mine didn't give me the update option, and I assumed at some point it's going to just switch itself off until I update it, and then I'll come back and it'll all be completely black in this room.
probably. So if this should do it. I just pulled you up a bit
Yay.
and a bit more, maybe this way. Does this work? Jerry still in shot? More or less.
Yep. As much as I can be.
So, hello everybody. As some of you know, I'm in a bit of tooth pain since Saturday. So, even though I said I would be not drinking today, I am drinking.
God bless you.
Yeah, when there's the choice between taking multiple painkillers or just a good can of beer, or a bottle in this case, I'm going for the bottle because I can have a nice sleep after that.
It's a good way to do it. Good way to do it.
Yes, crazy.
I would have suggested clove oil or oil of cloves.
I can't tell if I know what that is.
You should ask at the pharmacists if they've heard of it. It's literally just put it on your tooth and it numbs the pain.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I may have...
But it's you don't require a prescription or anything for it. It's very handy to have.
Resizing the Jerry on the
See
fly.
the bottom of Jerry's menu, blah blah blah. As the graphic is blah blah blah.
Yeah,
It's close enough.
for some reason,
just have to live with it.
Skype doesn't want me to get this thing out of the way. Why? I don't know. Last time he hit it automatically. It's just bad.
Yep. As my dad used to say, Dutch, it's not just good, it's good enough.
Needs to be this way. Next time, I'm betting it will look different again.
Makes sense.
So,
Wish we could.
a quick update. The Undead Scullybobs are funded.
Yay!
Yay, go me. I'm getting my Scullybobs hopefully someday in September. So if any of you not listened last time, here's the link again in the chat. Go back that bugger.
Join him. Join him.
And the funny thing is they just started a YouTube channel with 3 little videos about their things they did, and boy, can you tell that they never done any filming.
Oh, nice.
This was some the first video was made with a smartphone or vertically arranged, which is so always annoying me.
That's how the magic happens.
I did my best to give polite advice on how to do it. He was thankful for it, I think, because he said thank you, and I hope he gets the thing on the road before Brexit is complete.
Well, if he doesn't, send it to my house and I'll stick it in my pocket and bring it over. It'll probably be easier.
Yeah, maybe even faster.
we're currently looking forward to the shit show that is Brexit, because nobody's entirely certain what's happening with Northern Ireland, which could have massive ramifications for OTT.
Have you stocked up on popcorn to watch that show?
Oh yeah, very much so.
I really don't want to be in your or Warren's shoes for that matter, because I alone starting to think of any implication that could have, that goes just beyond good.
It's good, clean family fun. It's what we aim for in life.
We just hope for the best. So maybe an asteroid.
Prepare for the worst.
Maybe an asteroid will hit us and everything will be gone.
That is true. In a couple of hours' time, I'll check the lottery results for tonight. And if I'm 23 million richer, I won't be quite as concerned anymore.
Probably not. So, the first thing you have picked out for us is 144 artists doing Woolsong. I've never seen this project before, and
because I've been skipping merrily through the project system today.
Like a little bunny.
Like a bunny, like little bunny foo-foo, hopping through the forest, picking up the field mice and bopping them on the head.
And then eating them whole.
That type of thing. Like somebody from V. It's the best way to do it.
Exactly. So Woolsong is a game system of sorts?
Yes.
I guess?
Correct. That is exactly what it is.
Or is it just a range of miniatures and terrain?
No, it's a steampunk. If you think almost 1920-ish steampunk, so you have things like halfling gangsters who are very much in the vein of Dick Tracy. In fact, Dick Tracy is there as a unfortunate zombie halfling.
Why not a zombie halfling?
Because all the rest of them are mafia. But then Dick Tracy, who's still got shackles and like fish in his pockets from where they heaved him into the river and brought him back as a zombie.
And 1 foot still in concrete.
That type of thing. So yeah, it's really interesting little 1920s steampunk pastiche mix. And it's a good game as well.
So the paint job on this mini is nice, though the posing is a bit not dynamic, but
it's flat. It is flat. I'll give you that one. Now, they changed about a year or so ago. I think it was the second edition I've got. So you can see there's a noticeable change from older models to newer, where they become slightly more dynamic and better posed. And then for some of the larger ones, there are ogre type creatures that were metal originally and are now done in resin, so they can be a bit more dynamic and leaping about the place. But there's some really nice paint jobs. Kel Surprise from 144 artist.
Look at this nice little shotgun. But he didn't drill the barrels. It's only painted.
It's only painted. Well, he has an
lazy.
artist. Maybe he doesn't like to get his hands dirty with the technical stuff. Why bother with a drill when paint will do?
Well, I think on that small model we can give him a pass on that.
Yes, Dutch. The big beast of a robot. That's the one. The one Hazy Boy's talking about. I think it's the huge golem. And
the detail on this face makes me want to strangle somebody. How do people manage to keep their hands steady for that small area?
There's different ways of doing it. I always favour the two hands together, because if your two wrists are there, they're less likely to. In fact, if that was a paintbrush, you hold the miniature in this hand and you're keeping the two wrists together. It's a lot steadier than trying to hold something and paint, because then they're free floating, they're very independent. But that would be how I would do it. He might not. He might just put a big wash on it and then hit it with a huge brush quickly. Just a big flat brush, just drag down the face.
A slip of the brush.
Yeah, I do like the Burberry look on the waistcoat. It's quite nice.
Now, these are interesting looking fellows. Those are much more dynamic.
He's the not Dirty Harry.
Yeah, wrong haircut for Dirty Harry.
Oh, I don't know. It's very close to the original. Eastwood's was very poofy back in the Harry days.
It has been so long since I've seen that movie.
Oh, you should definitely go back and watch it. It's amazing. The Dwarf is my favourite. Anybody who's a fan of Inspector Gadget will see where that's coming from.
I was just about to hum the melody.
Yep.
But
And this is one of the nice things about it, because they do have these little homages. I mean, with the, I keep saying halflings, they're not. I think they are actually just dwarves. With the Mafia version of them, there is a Princess Peach and a Mario. And it wasn't until I was looking at them at the boot camp going, he could be painted like Mario, because every other time you see him painted, he hasn't got the, you know, the red hat and the dungarees or anything on. So you don't have to go that way if you don't want to.
So keeping the paint off so that Nintendo doesn't come down on them.
Yeah, that type of thing.
My most favorite part about Inspector Gadget was always the final minutes when Dr. Claw was leaving the scene going, next time, Gadget, next time.
I wonder if him and Silas Greenback from Danger Mouse ever met up. Because that would be interesting.
It would be an interesting crossover for the show.
Oh, it's Claw.
What are you saying?
You've been defeated again. Just like somebody passed around a set of strepsils or throat lozenges for these people, please.
Or somebody then comes along and passes some respirators or something. You guys need to get rid of your smoking.
There's a nice use of Batman miniature lampposts.
This one I really fancy. This Sphinx pseudoscience redo. And first thing that came to my mind, if that would have been one of Blinky's project, those eyes would light up.
Oh yeah,
and some sound would come out of the mouth.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Some terrible, horrible noise. I like that.
20 Rothmans would do the job, easy boy. Yeah. I've had this armor cast resin bit. Yeah, so it's not even made for. Although it does look like it has been made. It's, you know, has that weird steampunk.
It looks like somebody actually took something from garden decoration Egyptian style and just slapped some bits on.
If it's from Armorcast, that's entirely possible. It's the sort of thing I would expect to see for Volsung. Or alternatively, the sort of thing you would see for one of Batman's nemesis.
Well, that's a angry-looking fellow.
He's a delightful chap.
Non-micro art steampunk dwarfs. Oh, this is your favorite, isn't it?
The squirrel.
Squirrel on the wrench.
Squirrel. Not sure where he's from. Somebody with better eyesight can possibly read what it says on the back of his shirt.
I highly doubt that. Cyprus?
Could be Dwarven runes.
I think it's runes.
Quickly, internet nerds, translate that, because I know you'll know how. That's why we keep you here. But yeah, it's a lovely little project from him. And then when you see it set up on a table like that.
Yeah, the table is coming up shortly. Here we go. This is... And I like this little detail of just a random toy car added into the mix.
Well, obviously, we've seen where he's gone from here. Going, toy cars aren't enough. I need tables for my cafes, planters for the trees in the street, at a fountain. Next time we come past, there'll be peopled with steampunk children and stuff running away.
Self-driving child carriages.
Oh, yeah. Very much so.
Oh, what is this? Evil machine waiting, lurking.
Oh, Hazy Boy will know. I remember somebody having them at the boot camp, but I can't remember what they're called. I do remember they were fairly devastating.
Oh, he's not telling.
Filth wizards.
That's a lot of Strigoi, 3 necrogolems.
Oh, that's it. That's the one. I'm trying to think who they were paired up with. They were paired up with somebody appalling.
This is a busy market.
Very much so. You can get them. I mean, I've got a set of them over there. The little resin. They're not just terrain, they're also objective markers. And when you buy them, they come with a scenario specifically for them. So you can use them to put onto your board to populate your board, but also you've got a nice, interesting little scenario specific to them, which is nice.
That would be the thing that would totally pull me out of the game every now and again if I play a mission where those are not the mission markers, because my mind would be fixated on them. Must have those.
Venrir, there we go. And you hazy boy would know. Or alternatively, he was flicking through his book, finding the answer for me. Either way, that will do. Because my book is next door. Is it? Is my book next door?
Oh, and he snagged some newbies.
Don't know.
With a very good-looking demo table.
Look, he's got the Dr. Robotnik from Sonic the Hedgehog.
What?
Displaying.
Where?
Very top left. It's glad to
Yeah.
see he's given up chasing that blue hedgehog and decided to, just
Or
play
it's
with toy soldiers instead.
or it's one of the Mythbusters, not without his head.
Oh, yes.
Or maybe that's his secret identity. Mythbusters are actually Dr. Robotnik. Would make sense. They create robots
That is
more
true.
and more. Yes. These details like posters on some poster pole in the middle of the street. Very nice. To be honest, since I've put them on my terrain eons ago, like it feels, I'm always looking for those little details. Those make these things more believable. Realistic isn't the right word, but seem more appropriate to playing than just your plain old rubble and debris fields.
Yeah. Depends on the game you're playing, I suppose.
Well, even on 40k ruined rubble places, I would love to see some Imperial edicts or posters or something. I would say that would make a heck of a difference.
Anti-Space Marine graffiti up the walls.
Yeah, something like that.
Like the old rogue trader. Just Marines out, sprayed on the side of a building.
And the out isn't really finished because he was shot from the commissar just before.
Weirdly, in the picture, he gets stopped by two Space Marines, so I don't think he has completed the out. It's too far away for me to read, so I'm not going to bother. Otherwise, I would have looked.
A dwarf sniper.
See, told you. Mafia.
He will make you an offer you can't refuse.
Very much so.
Yes, these are really... Oh, God, look at this paint job on the inside of the cloak.
Sherlock Holmes.
I would say so, Watson. Indeed. He's only missing his pipe.
Maybe he's quit.
No, he's doing cocaine now, or what was it?
Opium. He was a
Opium, yeah.
big opium fiend. Forever tapping a vein. God bless him.
This is nice. And here we have exploding kittens before there were exploding kittens.
Covered in C4.
Why ever somebody would have do this, I don't know, because cats don't do as you tell them. So you probably end up blowing up your own rooms.
Yeah, they just refuse to. You set the bomb, you open the door for them to leave, and they just sit there staring at you as it ticks down.
They take a step out. No, it's raining. I'm staying inside.
It's like the Soviet bomb dogs in World War II.
Oh, I remember those stories, yeah. Well-trained dogs that run back happily to their masters.
Yep.
Can we play now? Boom.
Well, they've been trained on the T-34, on chassis of them, so they recognised the shape. So they just turned around and ran straight towards the Soviet lines.
Well, that could have gone worse.
Yeah. Not sure how. Yeah, it's a delightful little set from
So this is steampunk
12 Grove Square.
Catwoman
Yeah.
Ninja Cat Army. And Suicide Bombers.
Selena Kyle. Maybe they're just taking a leaf out of a 60s Batman sort of book. Or even, to be fair, the Danny DeVito Penguin, who had all the penguins with rockets on their backs.
Oh, those were lovely. I loved that scene.
Yeah. You know.
How was it named? Cobblebottom?
Oswald Cobblepot.
A Cobblepot, yes. Do you want a fish? Yes, this is a very lovely project. We don't go much more down because we have reached 2019 already. This is far enough, I think.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's been languishing in the background.
Probably,
like a lot
again,
of
one
projects.
of these projects that just updates every now and then when everybody else and their mother is doing so too, so it gets way overlooked because this totally passed me too.
Well, that was it. He did it in June, but I think in June we were being swamped by Spring Clean Challenge. So.
And also, he's using so many pictures into one post. I dare to imagine how often he had to repost those, or how long it took him to update these pages. Because when I do more than 3 pictures at a time, it doesn't work.
Oh, yeah. But then that's because it knows you. It knows that you're some sort of tech wizard, therefore it hates you and wants you to suffer.
If it would know me, it would gladly obey my wishes. But on the other hand, sometimes I need this training and patience, I think. Can't hurt, can it?
No, that is true.
So this is 144 Artists Explores Lioness or My Journey into Volsung. Well, I think this is a deep dive journey now. 889 recommendations. Well,
oh yeah, it's up there.
It's a number.
It's right up there. This next one is shockingly low for what's in it, mind you.
Next up, Shooty Shooty Bang Bang. Artemis 5150, however you want to pronounce it, does Star Wars Legion. At first I thought he would do the 501st, but I misread it. Although those clones could be the 501st, for all that I know.
Yeah, and this one we're quite lucky because he'd forgot to update some pictures because he hadn't done any work on it in a while. Then spammed them last week. But last week we also had Artemis, Crab, Progs, Jovian War stuff we were looking at, so I thought rather than stick 2 in, we'd leave 1 for a week. So this is what I mentioned to Ben on when we were filming the Weekender. I don't know if it made it into the Weekender.
I think it made it.
Yeah, he was talking about wanting to do Martian soil for his clones. That's just like, do I have a project for you, Benjamino?
Yeah,
I have a project for you.
That was in the Weekender. I've seen that, and this is really went well. I would say, it looks nice.
Yeah, it's not terrible. I wouldn't kick it out of bed.
Did he say what he did to those, or did he not?
He does. I believe it's the Martian Earth technical paint he uses, but he mentions it somewhere else further down.
He's using Sorastro's painting guide.
Yeah, for the actual cloney clones.
We have been at this before because I see my likes. But that's already half a year ago.
Oh, I know, he's terrible, isn't he?
Yeah.
You'd expect him to do more.
More! Oh, reminds me, I need to get that meme from... What's his face? Kylo Ren. When they're shooting at Luke. More! More!
Do you think he's dead yet?
What? Actually, one of the nicer scenes of that movie when Mr. Skywalker just brushes off his imaginary dust.
Beautiful. Go on, look, you Joey. Yeah. Yeah, it's
So for anybody wanting some pictures of nice-looking stormy dudes, go here.
Yeah, not just the clones. there's a very nice selection at the. He started with Rebels, so it goes Rebels, then goes Empire, and then he added the clones in for the new expansion. So if you're after inspiration, you would do worse than to come and have a look at those.
No, and he does a real nice, clean job with.
Yeah.
Without too many bells and whistles, I would say. It's not an easy paint job, but it's something you could easily attempt to recreate.
Yeah. And you can see he can do more. He's chose not to. Any man who paints stubble on the head of a shaved clone trooper can clearly do more. But it's just going, nope, this is me, done. Move along.
You know, this simple effect on the premium bases he did. Simple white and streaks.
Almost make it, because if you remember the I'm assuming he's going for that Death Star or / Star Destroyer look on the map painting where it's like gloss black. It's like super shiny. So I'm assuming that's what he's kind of trying to replicate there.
Probably. I'm still mad at FFG why they waited so long with the extra bases to bring them out. That really annoyed me. If they have been available the day the box set was launched, I would have gone all in on those as well. But since I think nearly 3-4 months later, what was some time, I couldn't be bothered to rebase all my miniatures.
Yeah. I mean, I could. I won't. I could. I get round it by not having actually painted anything yet. So.
Nothing?
Well, I mean, looks started. So, got that going for me, which is nice.
The next one we have is Captain Jack, the worst pirate I've ever heard of, made by Dane 001.
But you have heard of him.
I have. Though I only have seen the first 2 movies.
How many are there? Somebody's telling me there's loads and they've like announced another one today.
4 or 5?
I've seen the first one.
The second one is still watchable, but after that I lost interest.
Best not worry about it. It'll come back.
Probably.
But this is a relatively short and sweet one. We've got some pre-production, if you will, pictures. We've got some finished pictures, and in between that miniature sandwich is his video from his Twitch stream of him painting it up. Plus, you get a nice little comprehensive guide. I quite like that miniature. When I started buying stuff from Footsore, it was one of only a handful of miniatures they had on their website before they went massively into the dark ages. So it's quite cute.
There's a lot of detail on that miniature, though the beard isn't as on the Johnny Depp one.
Well, you know,
annoys me a bit.
You can always get in there with some green stuff and fix that. Just shave everything down and add what you need to. You just need to lengthen out the braids on the chin.
If I start to shave on a miniature that size, we're having some decapitated captain. And he has again a video.
Yes.
That annoys me all the time. People have talented people painting and also documenting that in a video.
But the important thing is he knuckled down after we complained that he only put the videos in, and now he puts the videos in with text and additional still images. So really, we've won, Tim.
You have won, and I'm taking all the glory for it.
Yeah. Oh, very much so. Lots of talk. I'm pretty sure World's End is the third Cornetto film. You're getting very confused now. Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, World's End.
The most important question regarding Pirates of the Caribbean is and always will be, what about the rum? Where's the rum gone?
Was that a thing he said? I've only seen it once.
Yeah, when he and the female lead get stranded on a island where he has hidden some rum supplies and gets himself wasted, and she takes all the rum and burns it to make a smoke signal. He wakes up to the burning I think so. Was it the first or the second movie? I couldn't tell you.
You know what that is? That sounds like protective amnesia has kicked in. And that's just been blanked from my mind.
Could be.
So all the rum is gone now.
And then yeah, I think it was the first. There's also a YouTube remix of Johnny Depp, like they did with the Hobbits Have Gone to Isengard. Mm-hmm. And that's all he sings is, "Where's the rum gone? Where's the rum gone?" You should look that up later. It's funny.
Yeah. Sounds like the discombobulate bit from the Sherlock Holmes film.
Probably.
You know, where he's fighting the guy in the ring, and it's like, you know, first step discombobulate, then blind, then attack solar plexus, and he maps out whatever he's going to do, and somebody has recut that, so every step is discombobulate. So like discombobulate, then discombobulate, target ribs and discombobulate. It's just like that for 30 seconds. Fucking bizarre.
Next up, Umbra has done Falling Back into Old Habits, Rediscovering Imperial Guard.
Imperial Guard, you say?
At least that's what the title says, and I see green people.
You do see green people?
Is that a bucket of minis?
This is a bucket of minis that he decided to hook out for the upcoming 9th edition and do something with. So this presumably is what they looked like when he dug them out of whatever box in the wall they were hiding in. They're very green.
They're really...
They are made of the finest green.
Green stuff deluxe.
Could it be? I hold here in my hands a nugget of purest green.
I know that line, but I can't remember from where that is.
It's not so much a nugget per se, more like a splat.
Where was that from?
Blackadder.
Oh,
Blackadder.
Yes. Oh.
Second. So, yeah, so he's got 36 men plus a second-hand Griffin mortar. And
which he also turned green.
And he's got old school. Well, the green presumably is how they started. But it very much reminds me of the old NATO camo patterns that all the Guard used to have on them in the second edition codexes.
Are we going back in time again? Yes, we are.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Griffin motors were awesome. I don't think they exist in the game anymore, could they? No, he's having to proxy it for something terrible.
And to be honest, these would look stunning on a table with any green foliage. So any table made by Mel.
That is true, yeah. Anything done for his chindits? Drink.
Cheers.
It's nice.
And it's definitely something different.
They're nice tabletop, but I think they could do with a bit of depth, where they're a bit of a wash. Because they're very... I'm going to say uniform. Their uniform is very uniform. They're very flat.
Flat is the word I would go for.
Yeah.
I think I can see...
He does have a broken arm Dutch. There's a command sprue that contains a broken arm, a medic, and a few other bits and pieces to change up your unit a little.
I can see why he's hesitating to go on with washes, because once you started washes, you're getting on with highlights and...
Well... It depends. Depends how liberal you put the wash on and how heavy it is. If you do it, if he hits it with a satin varnish first, satin or gloss, and then washes it, so it would behave more like a pin wash and would keep a lot of the highlights, I think that would work without adding too much time.
Could be. But I think he's deliberately going for a new clean look, because on the tank there's not much wear and tear either. So
no, just dirt in the tracks. And
these are just rolled off the landing ship and are deployed to whatever massacre there is in the name of the Emperor.
Yeah, and it's a good way of doing it.
The false Emperor, to be completely honest.
It gets them painted onto the table in double quick fashion. And they don't need to be... I mean, when you're fielding Imperial Guard, you don't need to spend ages with them.
They usually don't last long on the table.
No, they don't. Either Earthshade or Camo Shade either would be fine. I don't know whether the brown shade's anything, so that's good. Green would be obviously a bit a bit more striking. I just think they need something to lift them.
Maybe he simply would be fine with sealing them all in satin varnish, as you said, and then do a short dip.
Yeah, well, that the wash would do that. But yeah, varnishing before washing is amazeballs. As Brody said, it's a source.
Hazy Boy just discovered varnishing before washing took him only 30 odd years. Well, I was today's years old before I learned that. I usually wash and then varnish. So
essentially, you know the army paint or polyurethane dips.
Yeah.
The reason they work so well is because they've got that high gloss in them, and you can simulate that by putting a satin or gloss varnish onto your miniature first, and then hitting it with a normal acrylic wash, and it will only really pull in the recesses, so you get very good contrast, get highlights and lowlights.
And it probably won't tone down the color so much then.
No, you'll still get a slight tint to it, but not as much as putting the wash on straight over a matte base. So
I think I will try this on my next Legion models.
Yeah. I mean, for something like Stormtroopers or Clone Troopers, things like that, where you want to maintain a very, well, you might not, but most people want to maintain that high white finish. It's very good for that.
You have seen my Stormtroopers. They are as white as they can get. Shiny examples of the Imperial.
Spray them white, varnish them, and then throw a light brown, like a soft tone wash over them, or a very light grey wash, like a contrast apothecary white, which is like a super light blue-grey, and then walk away because it will do the definition onto it for you.
We'll keep that in mind.
I could try that. It would require me to go and get my Legion set and dig it out. Paint them.
You could try that on any miniature, I guess.
Yeah, you know, I could. I won't.
Maybe try it on Luke.
I've got 2 Lukes. I've got to start doing. Now I've got my first Luke lightsaber done. I've got to go and make a load more lightsabers for all my other Jedis. Jedirises.
Will you do a General Grievous conversion with transparent?
That would be very nice, actually.
Because
especially because he's got the
forearms.
4, yeah.
That would look awesome. And then you get yourself
light them up
with Blinky and let Blinky do the lighting of that thing.
It's funny because we have in the store somewhere that Blinky didn't play with, but I thought I might experiment with it for Jerry Can at some point. They do a metal paint, so you don't have to wire it up. Essentially, paint the entire thing in metal, and then you paint your paint over the top. And because Grievous is so thin, you couldn't really wire him anyway. I was toying with the idea of possibly doing them, but you know.
I was talking to Blinky about that some moons ago because he was making all the drilling, and I was talking to him about I've seen some German painters doing that with his silver paint, using the conductive paint, and I can't remember what, but he had some objections to that. I think it was because he couldn't calculate if they really stay apart or if they maybe cross wires if they are too close. So because I'm
literally just going to paint the entire thing metal, top to bottom, like Achilles being dipped in the river. Yeah. Everything would get a silver.
But that would make just one polarity of 2 you need.
You know.
Believe me, it's science.
So you say.
Or you could go to fishing department and get yourself these little nightsticks. You bend them and then they start to glow. Lights. The glowy sticks for night fishing.
Unfortunately, I've never seen ones, because even the ones they do for floats are generally about 5 mil thick. I've not seen any thinner than that.
That's true.
But my lightsaber is 1.6 millimeter thickness, and it's 0.01 millimeter thicker than the actual Legion lightsabers. It's a bit chunky, although it looks quite well. So yeah. Anyway,
nobody will notice on the field.
No,
especially not on Luke when he's jumping around like a monkey on drugs.
Yeah, that too.
Next, Neves Wargaming Collection. So this is a random assortment of things, I guess.
This is a chunky monkey. of stuff. So it started out, the first one we have is Kings of War Abyssal Dwarves that he's been sitting on for a little while. And then with the release of version 3, it's like, oh, I should probably do these. I was like, yeah, you know, you could, I suppose.
How many?
All, I think. And not just all.
At multiples.
But he's gone with full model count as well, I think, for everything, which is great because you don't have to. You can multi-base and then leave some off. So, well, in that case, you can see the 40-man units are probably 30, so he doesn't have, because trying to rank them up is a pain in the backside. But even then, that's, you know, 3/4 of the unit size. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is 120 there, and then 10, 20, 30, 40. Another 30 at the back, 70 gargoyles. So there's no way he has 10 gargoyles on those troop bases, because getting 10 gargoyles.
No, 5 every other base.
Possible. Yeah, nobody can get. Well, I say nobody. People have done 10, but it's not easy.
It probably would look stupid.
Oh, I don't know. As a flock of scavenging gargoyle type things is kind of amusing. But you do need to cut. They all come on pillars, so you need to cut some of the pillars down. And
that's what I was about to say.
Really
if they're all on the same level, it can't work.
Yeah, it's not easy, but it's a thing of beauty seeing all of that, even the slave orcs.
That's an unhappy dragon.
That's abyssal half-breed, greater abyssal half-breed, winged greater abyssal half-breed, something like that, with an overmaster on it. For the spanking of the slave orcs, because sometimes they need a spanking. Could put a caster up there, don't need to.
Most people these days could use a spanking, to be honest.
That's one of my favourite models. That is the Hellfiend. It is essentially a stone golem that they've gone, well, we don't have to make them bipedal like humans. Let's make a rhinoceros stone golem. Okay, let's do that then.
And then put some armor plates on him.
Yep, and then put an altar on the back, and then we do donuts around the enemy. Hammering the horn. Ba, 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 ba.
And then throwing donuts at the cops.
I imagine that's exactly what they're doing all the time.
Oh, a little mechanical arm doohickey.
Yeah, it's Infernox. That's how the magic happens. Sometimes you can make obsidian golems, and sometimes they go, I can make myself one, which would make me immortal. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Reminds me of, what was that fantasy version of Shadowrun called?
Warhammer, Lord of the Rings.
No.
Shadowrun's the sci-fi version of fantasy.
There was a...
They actually did a... Wow,
yeah,
what a weird way.
Earthdawn. Dutch has it. Earthdawn.
Oh, Jesus, Earthdawn. Oh, man.
With the blood magic, and I've played that once, and it
yeah.
was terrible.
A friend of mine bought it. He'd only got into role-playing through me, friend at school years ago, and he went up to the there's only one shop in Northern... Well, it's closed now, so there's no shops. There used to be a shop in Northern Ireland that sold games, and he went in and bought Earthdawn because it was all hardback and shiny and lovely looking. I was just like, oh, what a terrible, terrible game to buy as your first game.
It was actually... The funny thing is, just prior to that, we played Vampire Masquerade and Shadowrun, and then somebody came along and said, let's play Earthdawn. Well, it didn't go as planned.
No, I imagine not.
I think we did one session character creating and one evening playing, and then we all agreed on this is bad. Let's do something else.
Could have been worse. He could have picked up Rollmaster. Let's go. Oh, it's a book of tables that isn't a maths textbook. Are we sure it's not a maths textbook? Is some maths teacher out there trying to teach me working through stealth?
To be honest, there are some games that sometimes feel like a math textbook.
Oh,
Battletech isn't far from it either. Though I love Battletech, but sometimes all those tables are really getting to me.
Where are we? In the meantime, we've been scrolling on. So yeah, apart from that, there's a variety of scales in this. Obviously, we've got 28mm fantasy and I think 15mm and some 28 for Force on Force. I
No more Flames of War.
Yeah.
That's an awful lot of 15mm miniatures.
And a nice variety as well, because you've got things like Vietnam, as well as Team Yankee, and then back to Second World War for the Normandy Brits and that sort of thing. So and they're all nice, complete collections.
He brought a shrubbery.
Gallery. He has brought a shrubbery. That is in no way the most shrubbered I have ever seen. There's Hessian strips. They were very fond of using Hessian strips on the sides of their tanks, the British. And I've seen somebody do it once using elastic bands and just cutting lots and lots of elastic bands and gluing them all on. And you're going, that looks great now, but we all know elastic is perishable. It becomes very cracky and then will eventually just flake off. So like in 10 years' time, that lovely Hessian strip tank is going to be terrible.
If it crackles, some of those rubber bands tend to get sticky and gooey, and that's really a pain.
Oh, yeah. It was a genius idea until, thought was put into it. But lovely ambush pattern camo.
So many minis. Is he just showing off now all he has done in the past years, or did he do some major painting project due to COVID?
I think it's a bit of both. It's mostly tidying up, finishing off, and then doing these as galleries. So this is essentially, here's his full Soviet, here's his full North Vietnamese, here's his full NATO for whatever happens to be, or Chechen for force on force. So it's a gallery where he's just collected up everything he's done to show off. I just think it's a lovely gallery because there's just so much to chew through. Even the World War I Germans.
These group shots just get me. This is one table after another.
Oh, that looks like Soviet. Yep. That is Soviet. That is not something I would like to see on any of the tables in front of me.
Because your opponent takes too long to move all that, or?
Oh, no. It's just trying to get rid of infantry is like getting ticks off a dog. It's incredibly tricky. Well, and the Soviets have so many of them. I just have to get all the nebs out.
There's an easy trick for doing that. Just flamen. Use the Flammenwerfer, Hans.
Well, that works. Or Nebelwerfer.
Well, oh, he's got a spelling mistake. Do I correct him?
Oh, I would definitely. I wouldn't give him any marks for it either.
Well, where is it now?
For his Africa Corps, or rather for his Deutsche.
He's missing the S. It's not Dutch's Africa Corps, it's Deutsches. Yeah.
We are harsh but fair. This does go on considerably, so I think
I think this is although this page is.
No, this is one page. So yeah.
And here you the before mentioned World War I Germans.
With both German and British tanks.
Though, if my eyes don't deceive me, the British tanks also have
German
crosses
markings on them. Yeah. So I haven't looked through the Great War supplement for.
Did anybody steal tanks in World War I?
Yes, people stole them all the time.
Unbelievable.
There's a surviving tank. You'll like this. There's a surviving German tank. I think it might be the only surviving World War I German tank. And the only reason it survived was a group of Australian soldiers it was broke down in no man's land, and they went, we're fucking having that. And ran across no man's land, got it running and stole it and brought it back to their lines. And I think it's kicking around Australia or New Zealand, somewhere in the Antipodes anyway. But only because this bunch of nutters went, oh, we're having that. That's the only reason that's still around, because the rest, scrapped at the end of the war.
It's always the nutty people who preserve history.
Yep, without doubt.
Just look at all those unopened boxes of, let's say, first edition 40k.
Yeah.
No man or woman with his right mind would leave that unopened for 30 years.
Yeah.
You need to be a nutty. parking lot simulator. Yeah, I don't know. I never played Flames of War. Isn't that a accurate description?
It depends who's playing. Some people, you can theoretically put them cheek to jowl. I don't, because I don't like the look of it. But gamey people will, because the game doesn't stop you, and you get slight benefits from not being able to get anybody between them. So
Well,
it's one of those.
let's get on. We have... Oh, now I'm getting hungry. Corn dogs. By Ninjili. Ninjili?
I like Ninjili. Let's go with Ninjili.
And he's doing Evil Demon Dogs for 9th edition.
Well, he's doing Evil Demons for 9th.
I'm under the impression there's a new game coming out. Am I wrong?
Well, I think it's the same game as before, but just slightly different.
Same.
Like Windows.
Same but different.
Same but different, but still the same. So yeah, he's decided to go for Chos Crone, and his Chos Crone army is inspired by the paint job from the GW website.
And doing a lot of cornflakes.
Although he has made a terrible mistake.
He did?
His terrible mistake was using green stuff to try and fill those gaps. My heart bleeds for him, because that is not what green stuff was invented for. It's just like, oh man.
You don't have much love for green stuff, do you?
I have absolutely no problem with it for anybody who's wanting to make a set of dentures or sculpt a miniature from scratch. But filling and sanding is not your friend. It's so rubbery.
Well, everyone is his own master most of the time.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, Alien Purple. I know that color.
I've got tins of it.
Tins?
Yeah, I've got, because you get it in sprays. I have a cunning plan to do my abyssals for Kings of War with purple skin. So you can't see her, but she's alien purple.
I like that color. I need to use it more often. Though I hesitate to use it on Legion. I haven't found a miniature that... Maybe some alien.
Could be an alien. Maybe get a second unit of Royal Guard for the Emperor. My favourite for filling gaps is probably Milliput, although it's also the messiest. Because it's water soluble, you can literally wet it down with a brush or a bit of foam and just smear away the excess until it's a perfect seamless join. If I don't want to be messy, if I'm going for speed, I use Vallejo's plastic putty.
That's what I was about to say. That's a very quick way to get very fine gaps put down, because it's also water soluble and you can just squeeze it in where it needs to be, wipe off the excess, done.
Yeah. Although because it is a acrylic resin, there's slight shrinkage with it, which you don't get with Milliput. But it's a very, very good, which is why I've got 3 tubes of that.
The needle is a nice way to apply it into hard to get areas.
Yeah, I've got the needle, but I also have like three of the pots as well, 3 of the dropper bottles. So sprays and plastic glue you can do. I'm not a fan of it. Although I know Tim from the site is very fond of it.
I can see the appeal of using the same plastic to mend holes and gaps.
Yeah. I mean, if it was a plastic miniature, yes. But the solvent that melts the plastic is also the solvent that melts your tiny fighting man. So it can be dicey. But you should, I mean, most times you should be okay. You can literally, you know that Tamiya Thin? That. You can keep dropping sprue into that and shaking it up until essentially you get a plastic paste that you can fill your gap with. So it's, it's nice, and it smells great when it's open as well. So it's just like pure solvent.
And now we know why he's gone for corn. He already has a demon of his own.
He does. He has a demon who's out for blood.
Yeah, and he needs to be appeased every now and again.
Yeah. Or there will be blood.
There will be blood tonight. Now I've got that song stuck in my ear again.
It's nothing to do with me. I didn't do it. Can't prove anything.
I have it on tape.
I don't believe you.
I was nice just about to say he's only going with GW colors, and then comes along Vallejo.
Yeah. Clearly he knows that GW make their metals out of tinfoil shredded, not even particularly finely, and suspended.
Though I still have the mithril silver and bolt gun metal, and that works fine. It's very shiny, but it works. Woodland Scenics Ballast, fine grey. And
sometimes you just need a big bit of grit on your base.
Well, he has a cat. Why didn't he use any cat litter? Fresh, of course, because the demons with used cat litter would have given them the proper smell. What's that hellish stench on this table? My demons, my lord.
That is true, yes.
But then again...
My eyes, they're on fire.
If there is any indication on some bigger conventions that there really are people with a problem in personal hygiene, you don't want to emphasize that. You don't want to make things worse.
Well, you know, it's a couple of euro for a deodorant, or like 60 euro for a miniature. You can always find money for the miniatures.
Gamers Association for Personal Hygiene, as John Kowalik once painted. Still one of my most favorite paintings of him. just Igor going, and then the sight of a typical convention visitor smelling of things bad.
That's a not roses.
Yeah. Next up, our dear friend from over the pond, Horatio Noseblower, the man with the very fine handwriting. I'm always amazed when he sends stuff over with a handwritten letter.
Maybe he's doing it deliberately, knowing that English isn't your first language. It's like if I scroll my way through this like I normally would, you'd have no chance of deciphering it.
He actually, in his last letter, he apologized for his, and I quote, poor handwriting. At that point, I somehow wished for a big birder to log some big rocks over the ocean.
Well,
with an estimate trajectory.
Maybe he spends most of his time doing fine calligraphy. I just didn't have the time to lay out all the lines for you.
I couldn't write that clean, even if I tried. And I tried. Multiple times. Writing with our bare hands is just, I can't. That's an art loss to me. That's why I'm so bad at painting. So he did Amazons.
Yeah, Blinky's been sharing the love. So this was a set of Amazons that he printed and then sent across the water. And it's been interesting because he's using contrast, but he also went digging through for a, what do they call those things, mood board, for inspiration and idea on colour schemes for them.
There are interesting colour schemes.
Well, especially when you've got the
dudes in pyjamas.
Yes, very much so. The Jaguar Warriors, is that what they used to be called? It's strange because the Boxer Rebellion had Tiger Warriors, which was obviously in China about 500 years later, but looking very similar.
Seeing this picture of this
universal
clothed guy,
yes.
Did you see the picture of native Captain America?
No.
Oh, somebody went over and beyond and did a Captain America costume, but in the style of a Native American with a stitched shield and feathers, and it looked really awesome.
I'm just Googling him now. That's Comic-Con.
I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
It looked really stunning. Captain Native America. DC or Marvel, whoever owns that IP. Go with
Marvel.
that.
Yeah. It's very clever because he's used all the Indian or Native American, whatever the fuck you want to call him, and stick with it, because that's what I grew up. I'm too old to learn anything new now. But he's gone with that beading, forming the red and white stripes.
Yeah. It's really nicely done. It's even on a pure stand of handcraft, it's very nicely done. So Google it, guys. It looks great.
It does.
Or if Jerry is so kind, he will put the link into the chat.
I found possibly, what was this? That looks like the best image I can find of him, because he's actually well lit. There's one in front of the Comic-Con board, but the lighting's bad and it cuts off at his waist, so you don't get to see his awesome boots. It's very different.
Yeah, I've seen a picture of him in the action pose, but that's the one I saw.
Oh yeah, no. There's if you Google him, you'll find plenty of them. But that at least is full on.
Yeah, maybe we can find somebody who does a miniature for this. Would be something else, and then put him into Marvel. Well, Horatio, short project, but nicely done. Still active, no, completed. So these are the final ones. We don't get any Lloyd shot, sadly.
No, I know, he's terrible. That's why he won't win a golden button for this. Do you hear me?
But he painted eyes.
I don't care.
No
Lloyd shot means no win. Those are the rules that I've just made up.
And Lloyd totally is with you on that. So.
Oh yeah, Lloyd's 100% on board for that one.
So we can't do anything about that.
There's a Lloyd shot of the unfinished versions, which is really annoying. Yeah.
Oh, actually, yes.
Yeah. So it's like,
well, maybe there's no Lloyd shot on the finished version because he didn't do anything more on the back side.
He didn't do any more. So
he only did the front.
None of the shields are finished.
No striping on the back.
Are done. Yeah. Give up. It's like years ago, White Dwarf had a 3-month publication time. So, Marches would be written in December, and, you had 3-month lead up. And so when they came, they were always working hand to mouth for a long time until, I'm trying to remember who took over. Was it Jake? No, it wasn't Jake. Gaz took over, and it was like, okay, you've got to start getting ahead. So to get ahead, what they did was, if they were taking a picture of a new miniature in White Dwarf and they needed the heavy metal painters to paint it, if you're only seeing
the first
that angle, they didn't bother paint the back. And it was literally, you need to paint faster because we need to get ahead here. So there was an awful lot of unfinished miniatures because they were only ever being photographed from the front.
You mentioning gas, do you know what sometimes is really intimating for myself?
Mm-hmm.
Seeing how many industry veterans are crawling on tabletop, and me being only a customer and small little player in the set. Sometimes it's okay, you guys all know each other from way back when. This is your party.
Well,
and then I remember
Gaz is Gaz Thorpe, not Gaz Byerly. So I don't know if Gaz is actually. I don't think Gaz is on the site, as in Gaz Thorpe. But yeah, we're an incestuous group. It's because GW hired everybody. You used to go, if you're talking to somebody, go, I used to work for GW, and then they go, so did I. And then somebody at the table will go, I never did. Go, are you sure? Sure you didn't know. The only period you can't account for when you were like 18.
When you were drunk all the time.
Yeah, exactly. The two are synonymous.
So next project is some gooey noise marine lava base by Zinj.
Wilderness Girls. So that's an interesting one.
He did some planning and did some mock-ups, as it looks.
Yes, doing tests for how he can best do his lava, for his lava flow. I don't think any of those tests were actually used in the end.
No, I don't think so.
Because when you see the lava that's actually on there, I think he's gone with different. Yeah.
The third attempt looks quite convincing.
Yeah. And Hello, Steve. Who's playing tonight? It's no be good, is it? I could check, but I can't be arsed. But he goes through his plans, because there is a noise marine at some point in the future that will be rocking out with his guitar out. Oh, Chelsea Norwich, yeah, so definitely nobody important then.
Purple
Although I
Rocks.
do need Chelsea to win that, because I just don't want United to get into Europe, at least not the Champions League. Yes, there's a health and safety warning. Always put your top on before you shake your paints.
And I'm only laughing so hard because that happened to me on more than one occasion.
Shocking.
Luckily, dropper bottles are much more forgiving.
Yeah, they are a lot more forgiving.
You get a splat or two somewhere in the ceiling, but that's it.
No,
Try explaining that to the wife.
it's entirely possible that he just ate a blueberry in Wonka's factory and never been able to get all of the dye out. Could go either way.
Could be. Yeah,
He
this
used
is...
an OSL by Kenny Boucher, a man who sounds like he smokes 80 a day.
Does he?
Interesting. Oh, he does. Oh, it's Kenny here from Next Level Painting. Okay, guys, that's what we're going to do.
But it looks good. The
does.
paint is good. The flow itself doesn't look so convincing to me. But then again, I've never seen lava flow in real life. So what do I know?
I've looked at lots of little pictures of lava flow, and depending on where it's flowing and how it's flowing, what you should probably do is add some more dark blacky speckles on top of the slower moving parts.
Probably.
To make it look like it's starting to cool down, because you've got that sort of foot creep building in. But, regardless, it looks well enough. It'll be interesting to see how the whole thing turns out.
Yeah, I like his concept sketch.
He's even got the speakers.
Yes. And I'm just waiting on how that really ends up, and if there's any more to come than just
I
building.
imagine there will be.
So
Don't worry, I'll be keeping an eye on him.
Next up, very tiny fighting man, Granddad's Army by what? Meowmix?
Meow Mix.
Meowmix. People, what's it with you with the numbers?
Speak. They're all like hackers. Hack the Planet. With Johnny Lee Miller and Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, I know
What
the movie.
Amazing film.
But every time I hear the word hack, I think of something different. Something more meaty.
Like a Fleming cough. Hacking your lungs up.
No, hack in German is the word for minced meat.
Oh, delightful.
So if you go to the butcher and say 1 kilo of hack, you get 1 kilo of minced meat. And that can be used for all sorts of things, like the lasagna I did today and other delicious...
Weirdly, I had spaghetti bolognese today.
You see, so it's
Must be a Tuesday thing.
coming together medley.
Yeah, this is...
Nice little tanks he did.
Yeah, Flames of War Army, based around the 50th Division. So, presumably that is the division his grandfather was in Second World War. And there's a nice range of tanks. So you have things like the Sherman 17-pounder, and he's done the little Ripley camo on the barrel, which is nice. So the Germans got into the habit of shooting the 17-pounders because they were particularly good, and they were very, very easily identifiable because that massive telegraph pole they had out the front. So they did the Ripley camo so it looked like the barrel was much shorter, like a regular Sherman, and therefore they might survive a bit longer. But it gives
you a 3-second advantage.
Yeah, sometimes that's all you need if they're having to try and work out who's shooting at them. But it's a nice selection of tiny fighting men's.
Is he sniffing the other guy's armpit?
Yeah, I imagine so. Do you think I need a shower, Sarge? Yes.
You're going to jail. You're counting as an enemy weapon of mass destruction. Go shower.
But there's a whole host of interesting, unusual things, including the AVREs.
These are weird things.
They are Lloyd shots we're seeing there. So
even by the front, they are even more weird looking.
I imagine it's the petard mortar. So it fired a dustbin sized shell. It was just, it makes Space Marine weapons look realistic, but it was close support for essentially a mini mortar that they could lob in support of infantry as they move forward.
Literally making hole in fires.
Yeah, sometimes you need a bunker not to be there anymore, and they did that. Cleared out the enemy and didn't leave the building standing. I quite like the splash of red. I don't know why they've got it. Presumably it's because he has a couple of different sections, so he's decided one section gets the flowers and one section doesn't, and it's just an easy way of identifying them on the tabletop, so you don't go, who's that stand belong to? Is it this unit or that unit? Go, do they have red flowers on it? No, then it's that one.
It beats painting the rims in different colors.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in I think they've actually got little yellow sprigs, but they're so close in colour to the basing, the second unit. I can't actually tell whether or not it is.
There are some coloured flowers on there. This is nicely done. Clean paint jobs. I wished for some kind of table group picture. Not this. This is my box of gaming goodness.
Well, leave it in the comments.
Put him on a big, nice gaming table, some terrain.
You may win a golden button if we get to see a grip shot on a table with stuff laid out.
When I start telling this people and they don't win a golden button, they're onto me for saying, but you said I would go for. No. No, you may win a golden button if we see a grip shot on a table. Well, and then I could say, if you give me £5, you may win a golden button. It would have the same effect.
Yeah, that works.
Only I would make some money.
Yeah, that's fine. Do that. Send us a $5 and give me a grip shot.
Promotion of the week.
Yeah.
Get your project featured on the front page.
I like stork margarine because I've only got one leg. Yes, I've enclosed the $5. Mum's the word.
Next up, some stunties.
Stunt, as you say, ease. Blood Bowl Dwarves.
By Firelock 22. A long time in the lead pile. If that's really lead, that's some time.
It's not, because I have the lead Blood Bowl Dwarves and they don't look like that. These are mid-tabled dwarves, so they're not the recent plastic ones. So they're not the original.
The third edition,
ones, but these are thirds,
2006, 2007.
Yeah, well, probably a bit earlier than that, actually. Because I don't know if it was. I'm trying to remember when it disappeared up its own backside again, Blood Bowl. Probably early 2000s, I think.
The newer version is somewhere up there, and the other version
came out
is there.
16. So, I can't remember one in between, but
there was.
I know for a while they were
early 2000s. There was a relaunch with the light blue box, not with that much graphic.
Super thin one. They just have the box size.
Exactly that one.
Put it out again. Yeah. Anywho, so it's a nice little set, going from the staffing, in which case it's a rock lobber or a stone thrower crewman being his coaching staff, waving a flag to tell them what play he wants, which is quite a nice touch. All the way through to the team and then the individual.
And he does a lot of detailing on that small buggers.
Yeah. No Lloyd shots, so we can't see if they've actually got numbers on them. Presumably they do. I can see something on the shoulders, but I can't see what it is on the shoulders. It's black and gold, so I imagine they're in there.
Very hard to make up. Maybe it's just runes.
He's very annoyed that his runners don't have pass, but his runners don't need pass. His runners get the ball and run, hence...
Dwarves run?
Natural sprinters, I'm told.
The only times I got to battle against dwarves were some bloody massacres. Especially when I played my goblin-only team. And the troll forgot what to do. Which is always the best time to do something like, what? Throw the goblin. What?
Always chuck the goblin. It's like halfling teams. No halfling team ever took the field unless they had at least one treeman who could heave them around the place. Because why take the little fellas if or snotling? Snotling teams were amazing.
There's snotling teams?
Oh yeah, and they could have 3 big guys to make up for the fact that they were turd.
Why wasn't I informed before? I need snotlings.
I want to go out with them and say, I've got one. He's shitting into a Blood Bowl helmet of another teammate, probably not even an opposition team member. It's going.
I think I need to look up snotling.
Look up the snotling rules, because I'm pretty certain that they could also field like 16 players on the pitch, so you could have like 13 snotlings plus 3 trolls. Sharing the knowledge that anytime anybody looks at a snotling, they just die like that.
Ignore the snotling. Try to hit the old trolls.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, this is nice. I think is this complete? No, it's active, so we will follow along.
Yeah. I'm hoping that we're going to see more. He may not be doing any more teams, but it might be nice to see some match reports.
That or some dugout, maybe, for it to properly.
Wait, he doesn't have a medic, so that would be the next thing on mine. Medic and then cheerleader.
Oh, dwarven cheerleaders.
Dwarven cheerleaders. I think I've still got some upstairs.
Can't be worse than the orc cheerleaders, can it?
They don't have tassels. Let's put it like that. At least they're wearing a top. So.
I think those are the first miniatures when I saw them way back then. Where I was, what the hell? Those don't even look like orcs.
No, they don't.
Some kind of ape frog crossover.
In drag, it's gone wrong. It's not somebody shaved a gorilla, put lipstick on it, and sent it out there. It's all
like the female Mogwai from
Gremlins. Gremlins 2. The lipstick on and the red dress. Yeah, she was more attractive than the orc cheerleader.
Exactly. Well, let's not go too far this road. Otherwise, we'll get in trouble. JB Max.
Twitch be doing us.
I think we have seen a bit of his work before, because I think I remembered being totally jelly about him doing this, or I was just looking the project up myself. I couldn't remember.
It is 3D printing, so you can't have everything, but there is apparently a lot of work going in here, because it's done and dusted from the files, so it's not even the purchased version, because I know somebody sells one.
Modifius themselves sell.
Is it?
Yeah,
but
they do the official prints now, and this is a thing. I think it's a smart move, because basically they don't have any costs, because the files are just pulled from the game. They do a little bit of refining, and everybody on his own then.
Oh yeah, because there's the files are 15 quid, but if you're actually buying that, because I remember the Red Rocket being appalling in price.
Yeah, but that was the terrain set when they launched the game. That was a physical product.
Yeah.
And just recently they started selling STL files.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. That Red Rocket STL file is 15 quid. They still have physical stuff on their site. Do they still have the rockety thing?
I would say yes.
£70 actually, or 75, or 65 rather. Fuck, can't read.
It's not cheap.
65 isn't. It's not as bad as I could have sworn it was more. I wonder if they dropped it in price because it wasn't selling.
Probably.
Because I'm positive I looked at it and there was a lot of swearing under my breath over the.
Even
because it's not a HDF kit. It's that cardboardy slaughter one.
That's what was my reaction when I first saw that.
Oh Jesus! Stop trying to sell me stuff, Modifius. Fuck yourselves.
But you want.
No, I don't. Although it does say the old ones are watching. get 5% off. Tell you what, if the old ones are watching, reprint my missing book from Acton Cthulhu, you fucks.
What book are you missing?
It was one of the scenario books. I can't remember the name of it.
I thought
it's the one in Czechoslovakia.
I thought that was still an active.
No, shit, no. Oh, no. Once it went from Kickstarter, like everything Modiphius do, they couldn't give a shit about keeping it in stock.
Well, then it's
just PDF only type of thing. Just like fuck yourselves.
Then it's a rather good thing that neither Skyrim nor Fallout was a Kickstarter.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what they're like now, but they initially started because I think Acton was the first they did. Yes. And then it was as soon as they got that out the door, they then, stopped supporting it and immediately went on to the next Kickstarter. And they did like 9 or 10. It was, every time you turned around, there was another Modiphius Kickstarter on for another system that was going to be ignored after 3 months. So, like footsore, but at least you have a hope that it may still be in production in a couple of months' time.
Or you find some shop having it laying around.
No, I've looked. Terrible, really. I don't know how I missed it as well, because I thought I'd bought everything during the Kickstarter. It was like, send me everything. But apparently this one bastard book, I didn't even realise I'd missed it until it was no longer available anywhere. Oh,
that's the worst.
I blame everybody else. Anyway. But JP Max's stuff, enough of me moaning, is quite interesting.
He does a really good job in preparing and everything for the print. I'm really anxious to see what this will finally look when it's done.
Yeah, I mean, seeing the rocket, it's a chunky monkey.
That's going to be a lot of filament.
He's already, he's got it printed out. It's there with the tree man.
No, I mean when the whole project is done, yeah. I think there will be 1 or 2 spools of filament going through this before that is nearly done.
Mm. I quite like he's got a section of billboard posters and stuff as well, which at some point might find themselves being used elsewhere.
Well, shall we venture on?
Yes, let's. I'm going to sneeze. I did.
Bless you. Oh, no, I missed my chance to say Gesundheit.
To make it. So...
And a scale we hadn't had today, 20 mil.
20 mil. Piers put some stuff up last week. Most people probably know his work. Some people are probably already subscribed to this thread. It is extensive. If people don't know him, delightful fella, does a lot of the miniatures for Plastic Soldier Company's box art. So anytime you pick up a set of miniatures from Plastic Soldier Company's World War II, chances are you're looking at stuff he's painted.
I always like when companies don't use only artwork to display the content. Even though it's usually painted by somebody who's so much better at that job than I am.
Piers is a terrible bastard, you are correct. But we still love him for it. But it's really nice watching, because if he's not painting stuff for box art, then he's a big fan of things like Battle Group. He's helped playtest and co-write some of the books for Battle Group. So sometimes you'll see battle reports and then you get to see all of the photographs in between. And it's the thing I like about it is the quality of his paint job is excellent. But then when he's playing the game, it's a gaming table that I would play on myself. It's lichen down the side of a road for bushes and that sort of thing. It's not one of these, everything's been made with woodland scenics and looks like a railway layout, perfect, pristine. It's a gamer table that a gamer has gone, I need a road here, brown felt, then lichen down the side, and then stick a couple of buildings on, so it's really nice to see it. And he does stonking work.
Yeah, I'm really beginning to hate him.
Oh yeah, feel free. He's down south, he never comes up to play.
What? Not?
Yeah.
Never?
No, it's terrible, isn't it?
Why not?
I've no idea.
Oh,
I should go
I
down
know.
to Kill the Head and find out.
He's afraid of Mr. Alpha Strike.
Oh,
This-
I think he'd be fine, to be brutally honest. But I can't remember if this is just World War II in here. We will not be going through all of this because this goes on forever. I love the grill. It's my favorite artillery piece. This is just his World War II stuff. He also does Old Hammer when he needs a break from camo, presumably, and his Old Hammer stuff he paints is just gorgeous. It's just really nice seeing 30-year-old orcs and chaos warriors and stuff painted to this sort of standard. Beautiful.
That's a lot of input he has done.
And all 20 mil, you have to remember, so...
A bit smaller than your usual...
well, I can show you. I've got some 20 mil here. There's 20 mil, and there's a Space Marine. So that gives you a rough idea of the scale that he's actually painting these tiny fighting men in.
Does 40k still count as 28 mil?
No, but that is an old 28 mil one. So I think a Primaris these days is about the size of this. So is that, it's kind of like it, isn't it? Yeah, fucking 50 mil.
But they are still calling it 28 mil.
Well, it's not a scale, it's just a way of life. Scale creep has always been with us. It used to be 25 mil, and then they went, but 25 mil is measured, these are 25 mil measuring to the eyes, and that's where you got 28 mil becoming the new norm. Who the fuck measures to the eyes? What height are you, Tim? And when you measured yourself, did you measure to your eye level? Because I know I fucking don't. 196 centimeters to the tippy top of my head, not my bastard eyes.
Well, if I would measure myself, going to the eyes would be much easier because I would be looking at the point in front of me, marking it, and then do a measurement of that.
You do that, and then you do that with a... And then when you're doing that, you're actually going down the way, so you measure yourself like slightly shorter, so you haven't a clue what's going on.
The last time I measured myself in that way is, I think, 30 years ago.
I just don't measure myself. It's easier that way.
A friend of mine today asked me how often I would be on the scale. I said, what? Well, how often do you weigh yourself? I don't. I look down myself, I can see my feet, everything's fine.
I've measured myself once this year. Whenever I looked at myself recently going, oh Christ, I've put on a bit of weight. So I weighed myself and was like, I knew last year that I was overweight. And then I discovered that I've just piled the pounds on. So I'm now into the obese phase of the BMI. So that's all good.
Well, we have next year coming when the big hunger gets us all and we have
That's true.
Time enough to lose all those weights.
Oh yeah, starvation will knock those pounds off.
With ease.
So 20 mil NAM stuff is very nice. I'm interested to see the NAM game as well that he's working on with Warwick.
Going on to the next. Lockdown, getting shit done, not for me. Phoenix Man, whoever he is and wherever he is, he did pictures. Lots of them.
It's very well. There are lots. It's one entry. We've only got 9 to play with here, but there are some bits and bobs for his burrows and badgers. So there's more of that 3D printing malarkey that the kids like.
I'm a bit astounded. Just today, I thought we had established that we are not talking about 3D printing, and here we are, 2 projects from you.
Hey, I like to mix things up, keep the kids guessing.
Well, he's sure not afraid to use colors.
Nope.
Those are green dryads. Or are they dryads?
Who knows?
Some
GW, who knows?
Fantasy bobbins.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're made of wood and they burn.
Do you think they're witch then? They're made of wood.
They weigh the same as a duck.
But I do like the work he's done because it's various little bits and bobs and thingamajigs put together. I mean, that looks like Hearst Arts molds combined with the bits and pieces left from the sprue when he's made some sort of giant tree beast as whatever that is. some moistened been lobbing a scimitar. Maybe that's why they put the gate up to stop her making people the king. But these are presumably for any fantasy game he so wishes. But there's a bit of Burrows and Badgers and a bit of I'm going to guess Age of Sigmar, because I think that's a GW Jabba walk thing at the top.
Space Fluffies.
I like the pose that dog thing is striking.
That would be a game system I would like to know Ben's take on. Imagine 40k, but with Burrows and Badgers furry things in it.
It's a game called Albedo by Sally Forth. It already exists.
Oh, God. And here I was thinking Junko Walik's creation of Warhamster would be something genuine.
Albedo Combat Patrol, I think it's called, or something like that. But yeah, it's got like space rabbits and stuff like that, kicking around in powered armor. Well, not just powered armor, kicking around in various sci-fi type affairs, kicking ass and taking names. We're eating grass and leaving little round shites.
Not chocolate pellets. Don't eat. Don't collect. Yeah, but nicely painted too. But he really could do something about these joint lines, couldn't he? He was a bit of filler.
I don't know, because I know some of that stuff is modular because you can take it apart and there's rooms inside it. I don't know if that is one of them. So it may be that is just a join that could be masked, or it could be that can be split into pieces.
Maybe to be stored more easily.
Oh, well, yeah.
I could see that as well.
Yeah.
So we give him a pass on that, I think, for today. Because I'm feeling generous. Next up, the Emperor protects. You think. You'd wish.
Yeah.
Eternity Gate did Sisters of Battle.
This one has been lurking since last year when the Sisters came out. And I don't know how it's been missed by me.
He did a lovely paint job on the base.
He's still been... That's the limited edition one they released, I think, just prior to the Sisters coming out. They did that one. But this is going on. It's still being updated at the moment, and there's quite a comprehensive, here's what I've got, here's what I'm doing, and then here's how I'm painting it, including links to some of the tutorials and bits and pieces he's been using. So it's a really nice guide to doing Sisters.
Especially when putting in pieces non-GW, like we saw before with the Cromlech.
Yeah.
This is a very...
But yeah, like I say, you can follow along, because he's been doing things like, I could use flying stand for the Seraphim, but I'm not going to. Instead, let's have her landing on a bit of a rune type of doohickey instead. And done that with all of the Seraphim.
Well, for one or two, that is a good thing, but for a whole squad, feels a bit much.
I can live with it.
Maybe if he had gone with different levels of height.
That's true. Although, if it's the top of a wall of something that they're all landing on together, but he's chose to go for width rather than height.
In that case, he could have gone for a wall that is actually a complete wall when all five are set.
When they're all set together. To
make a nice display piece, and then breaking up while he's playing. But then again, I'm full of ideas and not so much on actually doing stuff, because I can't be asked.
You know what they say? Those who can't do, those who can't teach.
True, but I also can't teach. And I know. I tried.
What are they? That's a sprue of skulls.
And some teeth.
I'm not...
A bag of teeth?
I'm going to say it's a bag of stone instead of teeth. But maybe he is the Tooth Fairy, and he's finally found a use for all the children's teeth he's collected. How weird would that be? Fucking Tooth Fairy was a Sisters of Battle player. Suppose
borderline Pratchett weird.
Well,
but he has done a nice job of assembling, and
yeah, I mean, you will get to see all of the assembly and his thoughts behind it, but you can't plow on if you want to start seeing paint being laid down, because there is substantial, and it's mostly being done via the medium of contrast. And contrast medium, there's an Australian one.
I'm glad you said it. I thought it. I thought, no, I'm not going to say it.
It feels like me. You know, the minute you're sitting that long, it needs to be dusted before you can paint it. But it's, I think it's using contrast for the base coats and then doing secondary highlighting after the fact. Because there's certainly some highlighting going on some of the figures.
You know what grinds me? He has a clean spot on his table to take pictures.
Maybe it's a different room. Maybe he has to pick them up and carry them elsewhere to take the pictures.
Wife is not in the home. Quick, run into the
other room.
The living room, take some pictures, and then take them all back again. There's a lot of work going into these.
Yeah. Well, considering the price of them, you probably have to.
I dare to ask what the box is? Or was?
Oh, well, no, you can't get the box anymore. I can't remember. I want to say it was like 30 models plus the book for 125.
Oh.
Something like that. If I'm wrong, don't bother telling me, but I think that's more or less what it was. Somebody's going to go, it included a set of dice and cards as well, but quite frankly, at that price, I'd fucking want it. But yeah, it was. You weren't much over 30 models in that set. One of them might be a vehicle.
I think the only reason why they got away with it was because people were craving for new sisters for ages.
I wasn't. To be brutally honest, I've got the Metal Sisters.
Yeah, but everybody
which they were still
who went
selling.
into the hobby after you who hasn't.
No, but this is the thing. Those are all one-piece sculpts, more or less, for the old Sisters, and they still stand up almost identically to that, because unlike a lot of the other things GW have done recently, they didn't decide to do a complete redesign. All they did was scale them up to Primaris scale, because everybody's fucking huge now. So it's not even like you're going, oh my god, they're so different from the old ones. You're going, they're practically the same but bigger. It's like everybody's swollen.
Yeah, and there isn't this the character model that had been resculpted? I think there was one sister they did a remodel of, or a redefined.
No, well, yes. Hang on.
And when I saw her, I said, okay, I can see the level of detail being upped, but basically it was the same miniature.
It's very similar to the pose for the Canon S. But most of them were, like I say, they never really changed anything. They just made them bigger. So most of the models were the same, with the exception of Celestine, who they actually just went, everybody's converting her to have wings. Let's just give her wings.
Maybe they...
Like she wouldn't have been shot in the face.
Maybe they have have feared that if they would to change too much on the old design, that people wouldn't buy them.
I don't know. I have no idea what the rules are like. And they were one of those things where, like Marines, they can't really get away with changing the design of the Marines too much because they're so quintessential. So I don't think they needed to change the design. That's what they're...
And to be honest, I always liked the design of the sisters.
Oh yeah, nuns with guns.
It looked reasonable, realistic.
Yeah.
It's not too clunky and heavy like the Space Marine armor, and it doesn't look too old school like Imperial Army. It's something I would say is a proper...
It was a nice sci-fi look to them.
It's... I think it's closer to Judge Dredd for my taste than Space Marines. if that
Yeah.
makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I see where you're going. The police force, the adapters are Bytes. Yes.
But it is, yeah.
Their original sculpts, even the second version of their sculpts, I don't think they've done a third one yet. They've done something similar but different. They were very Dread-like, and they have that same sort of, you know, you could paint it as armor or you could paint it as some sort of synth skin type of thing. You know, it wasn't big and chunky. It was more slimline, more figure hugging. It flattered, it lifted and separated. That's what you want in an armor.
But this is really nice. I'm still waiting on his painted horn.
You know, I'm not going to send him that PM. You go ahead.
Inquisitor Eisenhorn needs to
All right.
be...
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's different. Yeah, that you should paint that.
I don't know what horn you were thinking of, Jerry.
I chose, you know, I chose not to explore that memory any further.
Let's not go down that road.
No. Definitely not.
Next up, Marvel.
Crisis
Crisis Protocol. By who did it?
Yeah. We've looked at some of this before in the past, so there's not a huge amount in here that we haven't already seen. But the Avengers have been essentially finished and assembled. And there were just some nice little touches. I think we looked at it a while ago and he was trying to decide between which of the models he was going to enter in a competition between Iron Man and Cap. I think we told him Cap and he placed. I can't remember if he won overall or if he just got third place.
We left him when he did his painting measuring sticks.
Hmm.
And there's Thor.
Yeah. And it's very nice.
If this was,
it's very punchy.
This is the kind of paint job I'd like to see on the packaging. If not on the front, then somewhere on the back as a painting example.
Mm.
Oh, and here is one without any object source lighting on passing through the wall.
Yeah. Do you hate it?
Nope.
Go ahead. Hazy Boy's not in there. You can tell him. Just say you hate the object source lighting on vision phasing.
Object source lighting is the worst because I can't get the hang of it.
He does do it on Iron Man, I think. And Iron Man, if I remember, was all non-metallic.
I've tried it a few times and I just can't get it to work. It looks shite every time I do it.
I'll introduce you to some tutorials on it that may help you.
Is any of them that Jerry can? No. A chance?
Fuck no. Not only no, but fuck no. Black Panthers particularly.
Yeah, this grayscale painting scheme he did for him is... My eyes are wondering where the color has left.
Yeah. It's like somebody's turned the saturation off.
It's like looking into an old black and white television.
I would do something to him because he's almost too grey rather than black. Like one thin black glaze over the whole thing. Just to, I mean, you'll still, with a decent glaze, you'll still be able to see all of the transitions there, but it would just pull it back a notch from being Grey Panther.
But maybe it's just the lighting.
No, because you can see the black on the rim of the base. So you can see how much lighter it is. I mean, it's a little thing. It's just me being me. I just like Black Panther to actually
be black.
Be black.
Sounds reasonable enough.
Hazy Boy, look at the speed you're knocking stuff out at, though. I mean, you've done all of them, and they're dogs. And there'll be new ones coming. Have you seen No, it's not Hawkeye and Black Widow. Or is it?
What's Hazy Boy about now? What does he not want to be bothered of?
I wish he hadn't bothered painting his own Marvel Crisis Protocol. You remember that massive one we went through? Where everything was done and dusted. To be fair, you're drunk most of the time. You'll never notice. Don't worry about it. You'll have forgotten this by tomorrow.
What?
Just Thanos to go. Snap. That Hulk's particularly punchy.
I like the design on the base with a yellow stripe.
Oh yeah, I love the road marking on it. It's a really simple idea. I'll be stealing that at some point.
Is that on the base?
No.
It looks molded. It is on the base.
Is it?
Yes, it is. Look.
I would have to go back to the one I painted, but I can't remember that being molded into the base we got with him.
Maybe
I wonder if they've done a couple of different bases.
I've seen the latest video of Zorastro doing Thanos, and he had done 2 bases with him. So maybe there are.
Is that the little base and then the?
No, he magnetized Thanos' feet to have 1 street and 1 rubble base. So basically, just have 2 different feet. Could be.
That's all right. I don't feel quite as bad then as not having done something clever like that on the Hulk's base.
Maybe it's an alternative supplier or a limited edition, or who knows? And who cares?
Well, with Atomic Mass games, really, who knows is the best answer to that. Sometimes I don't think they do themselves.
Off to the races for the next one. Swoopel. SV Boyle, what?
Stefan. Just call him Stefan.
Okay. Stefan, moin.
Stefan's been painting Star Wars.
He does Rebels.
And I think, I could be wrong here, I think he got through this without injuring himself in any way.
Is that
done
any kind of achievement for him?
Fucking is, yeah. Stefan was at the Bolt Action boot camp and cut into his finger so badly I think he had to go to some form of medical. It's like whenever he got home, it was like, this needs to be stitched. I have to go and see my own doctor. Then just this weekend past, he put a post up where he'd cut his hand here. I was like, how did you cut your hand? Doing the vacuum around the house. It's like, how have you cut yourself with a vacuum cleaner? No, he's just so acting pro. But anyway.
Well, you need a hobby.
God, he's got a stamp. Don't let him use a stamp.
Those are quite safe.
You just say that.
Yeah, you can't get your finger in those. I've tried.
No, but I bet he can get his tongue in it.
Well, that would be rather...
There'll be something. He's a delightful fella, but my God, what a klutz. He needs to be wrapped in bubble wrap. Must protect him.
That's a weird terrain set. That's pre-painted?
That is that's foregrounds pre-painted Adobe stuff. So it's very good for World War II Desert War, as you might imagine. And then he's got some of the Fantasy Frostgrave pre-paint stuff as well there, which
Speaking
is the
of foreground, have you passed on my invitation to Big Ben to be on the show?
I haven't yet. He's semi-retired a couple of weeks ago. So
what?
So
like he passed on the torch on foregrounds.
Yeah. So he's
then he should have ample free time.
So he should have free time. Yeah, exactly. So I must ask him. See what the score is.
I've still got him around.
Still got him around.
For the first times when I did this, I didn't want to be alone. I had my little Ben.
Oh, that's amazing.
Haven't you seen him before? Big little Ben.
Was I drinking a lot?
Could be.
Well, that makes sense.
I can't remember.
I can't remember him creeping up on screen. Anyway. So yes, Stefan has... it's an interesting little project because it's not just the painting, but it's also the list composition and then occasionally sort of little bat reps and stuff. So it's quite good. I like it. There's a lot going on with it.
Yeah, it's a living project, let's call it that.
There's a Dewback dabbing up some Wookiees.
I have those too. Those are worth gold, especially when you're playing on tournaments.
Yeah.
Just setting up the units, putting in all the extra cards you need, and then plonking it down on the table when you go to play.
Oh, very clever, Mr. Bond.
Yes.
Where'd you get those from?
Those are from... Wait a minute.
Don't mind us.
Ultimate Guard, 14 pocket.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. It's where most of my stuff comes from. Okay. That's a 14 pocket one. Okay.
Yeah. They initially were made for X-Wing. Or used for X-Wing.
Yes, that would make sense. You have so many little fucking cards to tack in there.
Yeah, but for Legion they work much better. And
2, 4. Yeah.
I use them also to store the cards. So I put my unit card like he did. Then the add-ons that are only for that unit are staying within the same folder, and only the general use editions get somewhere else.
Yeah.
Makes it a bit more easy to pick up your cards when you need to play.
Right, okay. I know what I'll be doing whenever we finish.
Sleeving cards?
Well, no, because I don't have them yet, but I'll be ordering myself a chunk. Look, there's a rebel officer looking cheap.
Yeah, ready on the gun. Trigger happy, lawless bastard that he is.
Well, he's a rebel. Let's just call them what they are.
Filthy rebels.
He's a space jihadist. That's what he is. Every time they say, "May the Force be with you," they may as well be screaming Allah Akbar. Yeah.
Something like that.
As they launch suicide runs down a Death Star's trench.
Or throw themselves into some still working shields.
They say Death Star, I mean Peace Moon. Have you ever read Darths and Droids?
No, I think I've heard of them.
It's an Australian comic book. And each page every panel is a still image. So we started doing them based on the prequels long time ago. Fuck, a long time ago. And the idea is Star Wars doesn't exist in his universe. So that's his one conceit. But he decided he was going to run a sci-fi D&D game for his friends. And they're going, okay. So, they start going through it and going, what can I afford? I'm going to get myself like a blaster rifle or a laser gun, blah, blah, blah. And they start looking at the prices. It's like 2,000 Imperial Galactic credits. And going like, I have 50. What have you got 50? What can we afford? A laser sword. Oh, God. This is why they end up with laser swords, because it's the only thing they can afford. You're going, you've just taken the D&D weapon list and put laser in front of everything. No, I haven't. 10-foot laser pole, laser net. It's so fun. So it's just this group of role players over the years as their lives go on and playing various things. But for a while he was a Google whack because he had the phrase "Jar Jar, you're a genius" only appeared on his website. It's the only place on the internet where anybody had ever uttered the phrase "Jar Jar, you're a genius." I hope any Star Wars fan should definitely have a look at darthsanddroids.net. If you want to see how weird it is, just have a look for somebody did a music video based on some of the things they said during that initial adventure. Like summon bigger fish.
I think I'll save that for darker times when I need some cheering up.
Oh, he was doing 3 strips a week for I don't know how many years. I'm going to say 7 or 8, because he was doing them before the new ones were announced. So there is a substantial back catalogue there for you to work through. Don't worry.
Before the prequels, that's some...
Would they work for Song of Ice and Fire? You should be able to find the scaling for the Song of Ice and Fire card size, and then any of the card deck protectors always give you the sizes. But essentially, the big card that we were looking at there is the size of a standard playing card, and then the smaller ones are half-sized.
Song of Ice and Fire is from FFG too, isn't it?
Yes.
So FFG has printed on the boxes the card size cards that they use, and the
they print them to their own scaling, don't they? They go these use FFG size 4 and size 5 cards and shit like that. Oh, it's cool mini or not FFG.
Oh, then never mind.
Go and find the
small portions are labeled small American size cards, and the bigger one are standard sized.
Yeah, so standard deck of cards.
So if
and
your
then
magic card
half-sized.
fits in there, it's the
Yeah.
same.
I only know that American and European have different sizes because of The Walking Dead.
Oh, there are so many different card sizes.
Oh
It's-
yeah,
it's
yeah,
unbelievable.
but they're only slightly different by like a millimeter or two. So you're looking for something that I think is 80, what was it? 87, 88 mil.
It's not printed on the package,
By-
sadly.
I'm going to say 64 for the large size, and then for the half size, that would just half the 88. So 44 by 60, whatever, 62, 64.
As long as Song of Ice and Fire isn't going far off with a special size in gaming card size, it should fit.
Yeah. No, I think they'll
This is what
something standard.
tournaments look for me on my side.
Yes.
Only that my unit tokens are in these little plastic containers that you usually use for collecting coins. Because I don't want to bend them or chip them, and it's a nice sound when you have this plastic shells in your bag and you go cling, 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 cling when pulling something out.
I assume they don't like you to do anything to your chips and tokens? You can't laminate them or anything to protect them further, or
You could.
replace them with aftermarket ones?
All tournaments I have been to had also aftermarket chips used. So I
Yes,
don't
Dutch.
think they make much of a fuss of it. Officially, I think the wording is you need to have you need to know what unit it is, and they must be made in the way that you can't cheat with them.
Yeah.
So the one side has to be uniform for every chip, and on the other side you have to have the special marking for the unit type you're using. So it's FFG, not GW.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Yes,
It's one
Dutch,
step ahead.
the Jedi, it's a type of cheese, is a particularly funny bit, which is why, like most role-playing groups, once they've latched onto something, they are very difficult to shake, so they refer to the Jedi Knights as cheddar monks for pretty much the rest of the time they play. It's my cheddar monk.
Why do I have to think of chipmunks now?
I don't know. Why do you? Is this you're going to ask to paint his staff again or whatever it was a moment ago? Best not.
Now we need some introduction for the next project.
Yes, we do. There we go.
Sir Robert has done furry stuff.
He is. He's big into his furries. If he's not trying to show off tits, then he's got the furries on the go.
Tits. Last time I saw him, he was showing off dicks.
Well, he's he's multi-gender fluid.
He's a
Adventurous.
switch.
Yeah, AC/DC. But look at that. We're coming back to Aztec-looking things again. I have no idea what that is in the scheme of, because presumably it's not actually a Aztec armadillo from Burros and Badgers, but who knows? Maybe it is. It's certainly weird.
Does he say he doesn't?
I imagine it's all Burros and
Augusto
Badgers.
and Barney.
But Robert being Robert, these may be anamorphic creatures or anamorphic creatures from any sort of miniature company he feels.
This rat somehow reminds me of a Blood Bowl.
Is it because of the red and white spotted dress?
No, more the posing, because the older rat models were also hand over head.
They were a little flat. They're currently sitting in a tray up there,
That's
waiting
true.
for me to start painting them at some point.
But this is a female rat, so
Might not be. It might just be very confident and likes to feel the wind around its nethers.
could be. But then again,
mean,
Dolce
it does-
and Gabbana purse.
It does say it's a thug, And I imagine it's probably hanging around some back alley, waiting for people to come out there, and then just, fancy a good time. Nods as good as wink to a blind bat, and then all of a sudden, boosh, out comes the kosh.
Oh,
Red polka dotted.
people have bad fantasies.
Well,
Manda says oaths won't do the Aztec armadillo.
Yeah.
Which is the worst word in English for me personally. Because all I hear is armored dildo.
Armored dildo.
Sorry, I can't.
You should have seen the dog treat toy thing I'd seen earlier from Wish.
Those are always fun, yeah.
Didn't look right.
It's a toy of sorts. Don't think too much who plays with it.
Best not. Best not.
There are things in this world once seen can't be unseen. So don't go onto the internet. It's a bad place.
Yeah. It's an ugly pug.
The female wabbit.
Once again, checkered top.
I think after having painted all those sky-clad warriors, he needed a palette cleansing and is now painting female furries.
Yeah, well, there's no human flesh to worry about on them. Everything's just brown or grey and then dry brush. It must be so relaxing. You don't have to think or anything. Like a Michael Palin TV show.
I haven't had one of those in years.
I should just go back and rewatch some Ripping Yarns. And Orlando Otter looking like a Landsknecht.
A what?
Landsknecht, the...
You mean a Landsknecht?
Well, if you must. Rocking all the colours, I approve of wholeheartedly. They only did it because they could. It's the only reason they have ridiculous outfits on.
And why could they? Because they were paid handsomely.
No, it's not just that. There was a feudal breakdown of what colours you could wear, and nobility were allowed to wear many coloured garments, and I can't remember what happened, that they were granted essentially the ability to wear multicolored clothing like the nobility, even though they were lower class. So they did. They went back nuts for it. Look at us. We can have any colors we want, so we're going to have all the colors.
Reminds me of one of the starting scenes in The Last Emperor, when the child emperor is hitting on his friend because he's wearing emperor clothing.
I can't remember that, but then I've not seen Last Emperor in a long, long time.
Really, on the beginning, when he was still a small child and he was tutored, and his friend came in a apricot-colored robe, and he said, "No, that's only the emperor's color," and started hitting him.
That type of thing. Always hit your childhood friend for wearing the wrong color. Always do.
Make him bleed.
Always, always, always.
So, we have one more for this evening by Evil Stew, and the project picture alone screams, "Fuck you, lazy gits, I did something."
Yeah, well, he's like that. He is like that.
And showing off his works in this way, how does he... Well, no. I'm lost for words on this one.
Maybe he doesn't get out much.
Could be. Or he has just been hiding these under the table and just now thought, well, I could take some pictures and annoy everybody.
That is true. And it is what he's doing. But it's a nice mix of all sorts of stuff. And this is...
Mobile terrain.
Yeah. This is another one that It hasn't had an update recently. I think May was the last update, but it had been buried down the pages and neglected, shall we say. So there's an eclectic mix from old Warhammer to Reaper Bones to fucking everything in between.
As it
Some
should be.
Osprey stuff.
I really like when people are just stop giving a fuck on the range they are buying and say, I like this model, I want this
Yeah.
into my army. This counts as.
It's the way to do it.
And I hate when people say, no, you can't use that. Why? It's not from the company.
Well, that's why God created rocks to throw at them till they go away.
Well, it's not the rock's fault.
Yeah, but they don't mind. Very short-term memory.
Those wolves look rather old school.
And they are just plastic.
Two-piece mold.
Yeah, but they did a set where you could buy them with metal heads for the Vampire Counts direwolves, but those aren't them, I don't think. Well, actually, a couple at the end might be, but it's mostly just the Wolf Rider / Chariot wolves.
Those
done a
I
sturdy
haven't
job.
seen in a long time. These centaur
Yes.
ogres.
Dragon Ogres. Dragon Ogres. Delightful people they are. One of the most expensive command groups.
Point wise.
Although they never made a command group for them, because you had to double. So you 87 points basic plus 2 points for great weapon or additional hand weapon. So 89 points doubled from musician or standard bearer. It's like, that was a ridiculous unit. I used to run 24.
Sometimes you're a bit mad, man. But only a bit.
Oh, it was so beautiful. Just put a 6x4 regiment of those on the table, and that being most of my army. And then just sit back and chuckle as my opponent had to try and remove them. You're going, good luck, Sonny. You've got two hopes, Bob Hope and No Hope, and Bob's dead.
Yeah, Amanda, I have to agree with you. Models not being from the same race should be representative.
Yeah.
But there are people in this world who don't care even for that and just try to annoy other people's. I mean, basically, when it comes down to playing, we're playing to have fun. Most of us.
Most of us.
If you're leaving out the fact of tournaments, playing with friends is basically something to relax and have fun. So why go out of your way and nag about that's not the official model? Yeah. If some company would care to make decent models, we wouldn't have to use other people's models. Just look at the stuff Cromlech churns out. It's
very true.
Imagine GW would hire those sculptors and do a whole orc army with Cromlech designs.
It would be delightful. It'll never happen.
No, of course not.
You can dream, though. That's interesting, dwarves. I never realised there's a mixture of Atlantis in there. And I think Avatars of War.
If I would ever win some large amount of money, like you suggested at the beginning,
I'll be checking that. Well,
I actually would go out and make some sculptor from Cromlech do me a complete army.
I would have Boris. Yeah.
I'll pay your rent for the next 6 months. Do these.
Oh no, I'd go full misery. You know, hobble him, kneecap him, break his ankles, chain him to bed. You're mine now, Boris. I want you to start sculpting your nightmares.
So you're going full acquisition.
Oh yeah, very much so. Oh, nightmare models. Put up a female barbarian and a evil necromancer type thing that Boris is sculpting for them for some dungeon crawler thing later on this year. And it was just like, oh my god, they're amazing. And that's off the back of Boris's stuff he's been doing for Westphalia recently.
Don't go that again.
Oh man, you haven't even seen his recent stuff.
No, I don't want.
No, you don't. I didn't want to.
I've already drank too much.
Oh, don't worry, none of it's on the site yet.
So when do I need to stop drinking then?
I would suggest after tonight, start squirreling away some money.
Hide in a cave.
And I tell you what, it's not just Boris. There's quite a lot in the works from Westphalia. So
I really wish
can't say any more.
I really wish they would have a decent distributor in Europe.
Yeah. I think the problem was the distributor he had, because it used to get cast in England and then sent over to him in Canada whenever he moved, and it just wasn't working, so he couldn't even keep the store filled up. But he's working on his own, essentially his own sort of casting house type thing in Canada or America. I can't remember which.
I can't blame him for that, but still, if he wants to sell on the European market, I think a distribution of sorts would come in handy.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Or maybe license the printing, the sculpts.
I suggested something similar, especially with the there's some stuff he's done recently that's been done with 3D brush thing.
ZBrush.
Yeah, sure, could be. It's pronounced Zed. But I pointed out the printed and detail people who are doing the 10mm elves, and it's, I think, pretty much the only thing they have on their website at the moment. That's like, possibly, if you are going to go the route of doing some stuff in 3D, is get them. Tatty bye, Martin. Tatty bye.
Bye, loving boy.
But then the amount of 3D stuff is so small, Dutch, that Boris thankfully has only tried doing something in 3D once a couple of weeks / months ago. I assume because he was sitting at home with no green stuff left. All the rest of his stuff is sculpted traditionally, and I suppose it could be done that way. I know people say it's a similar skill set to sculpting, but I can't see it myself.
Well, it's. I think the difference is both have to envision in the finished product, but one has to feel it in the material he uses, and the other has to just have the muscle memory to make it into a 3D space. I think it's similar, but not the same.
Yeah, I know some.
It's like
some
painting on paper. You
gone back and forward.
You pick up a pencil and you start scribbling away. You'll get some result of sorts.
Yeah.
But getting these basic results with any technical thing requires some more practice and working.
Yeah. I also have a sneaking suspicion Boris would probably get closer to his designs in that ZBrush, but those designs may not physically be able to be produced, or if you did produce them, actually be used, because he does do, when he's sketching, there's like ridiculous thinness of limbs and that sort of thing that obviously when he's sculpting by hand he has to change and make adaptations so that it can actually physically support itself and stand and all of these things.
And I think that's something you only feel the moment you really are creating the miniature itself.
But he's got a really nice giant that's got like a finger out with a fairy balanced on the end like Tinkerbell, and in his other hand he's got a whole cow.
Well, oh yeah, I saw that picture you showed.
Amazing.
Oh.
Amazing.
It's
not alone either.
No, I won't look at this tonight.
No, you better not. You better not. Well, plus I remember the way he did that Mandalorian Paladin.
Yes, I do.
Do you? I I've got 3 coming because I don't pay attention to what I'm fucking buying.
Maybe you should make yourself some Excel sheet on. I've bought this week company AZ.
I much prefer it's like Fight Club. So, things just arrive, and narcoleptic me doesn't realize that other version of me has bought them for myself.
It's like in the beginning of Kickstarter, when everybody went out of the way to kickstart everything and back everything, and a year later suddenly packages arrived. Wait, I never bought this. Did I buy this?
So going through your bills and going, oh my god, how much money to that company? Phone them up and they just go, yeah, you said you'd say that. No, but I really need you to cancel it. You said you'd definitely say that.
Exactly.
Okay, don't want you to cancel that. Anyway.
You've sent us a written note from your lawyers saying you're not going to cancel.
Say, do not cancel.
Under no circumstances. Hear what I say, do what I told you before.
I am Tyler Durden.
Third. Well, without having any Dinsdale this week.
No, I did see him.
We are close over 2 hours. This is long enough. I'm starting to get doozy, as some of you might have well noticed. Jerry, I thank you for being here.
Always a pleasure.
I'm looking forward to our Actum Cthulhu. No, it's not Actum Cthulhu.
No, Cthulhu
session.
World War II, World War Cthulhu, or
it will be a hilarious failure on my part. I can promise you that.
The most important stat to put all of your points into is spot hidden. You want to see everything all the time, definitely.
Let me get this straight. So we are playing against unseen horrors, which can drive you mentally over the edge, and you want me to see them all.
I never put anything to Spot. Fucking never. Spot gets its base 25 and that's it.
Did you see anything? What?
I'm so blinkered. It generally helps me because my stat rolls are normally so low. I start with like barely any sanity at all, so it's best just to blinker it off, wander away. It's all good.
I guess I'll have to look at the character creation process at some point.
Yeah, we can run through it with you at some juncture. I don't think we're playing next week.
No,
Taffy,
I think right, in 2 weeks' time, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so... Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it, really, I do. I've already told my wife she shouldn't be worried about me when I'm sounding weird on Monday nights. Making
I look forward to that.
Weird accents and maybe dropping dead on the floor. I don't know if it's going to be streamed since what's his name, Laughing Boy, is with us. Could be that he's streaming.
Oh, he streamed everything else. Although to be fair, I think there was a Zig Heil at the end of last week's stream. Whenever the topic of World War II Cthulhu was thrown about, so I don't know if he's still got a channel.
Well, if it's only once and it's in a proper what you call it, it's not hearable to any German audience because it's been butchered with some kind of accent. Well, who gives a flying fuck?
Well, the accent in this case was Danish, so it wasn't that butchered.
So your lovely leader has done some naughty words. Well.
Terrible. Huh? Right, you should go. It's too late. It's getting late.
Yeah. And it's getting even later.
Big man.
Is it?
Sun's going low.
Okay. Well, then.
I'm like Black Widow, me.
Thank you for everybody for being here. See you again next time.